Today, we're uncovering the shocking truth behind 10 specific groceries that seem to vanish from store shelves without warning and inexplicably rise in price. Could it be a mere coincidence, or is there a larger, more sinister force at play? Brace yourself as we dive into the government's hidden agenda designed to manipulate your shopping habits. This isn't just about the ebb and flow of consumer demand. There's a deeper strategy aimed at reshaping your kitchen cupboard, and we're here to expose it. Why are these particular items targeted? What are the implications for you and your family? And most importantly, what steps can you take to reclaim control over your pantry? Join us as we unravel this complex web of influence, revealing the truth about how supply chains are manipulated and your choices steered without you even realizing it. Get ready to challenge the status quo and uncover the truth behind the groceries the government would rather you didn't buy. Stay tuned, because what you learn today could change the way you shop forever. 10. Let's dive into the mysterious case of black beans, once a cornerstone crop for farmers across North and South America. Today, they find themselves on the brink of obscurity, not because of a lack of nutritional value, but due to a seismic shift in agricultural priorities and economic pressures. How did this humble yet nutritious bean become a casualty in the battle of food choices dictated by unseen hands? Black beans are nutritional powerhouses packed with protein, fiber, iron, and folate. Yet they are glaringly absent from the list of crops prioritized in modern agricultural subsidies and policies. Here's where the plot thickens. Major food corporations have lobbied hard to divert support towards crops that can be processed into high-margin products. We're talking about corn for high-fructose corn syrup and soy for an array of processed foods. In this corporate-tilted playing field, black beans are left without the spotlight. Enter the monoculture farming model, where vast fields are covered with a single type of crop, like corn or soy. This model is heavily backed by government subsidies because it fits snugly into the industrialized food production agenda, which prioritizes efficiency and profit over nutritional variety and ecological balance. Black beans, which do not align with these processed food industry goals, are sidelined. They receive less financial backing and fewer resources for research and development. But the story doesn't end with subsidies. The cultivation of black beans is inherently more labor-intensive. It demands sustainable practices like crop rotation and organic soil management, practices that current agricultural policies do not incentivize. Consequently, farmers feel the financial pinch and are nudged towards more profitable, resource-savvy crops that are compatible with large-scale farming equipment. The modernization of black bean farming is stunted, making them less competitive against crops benefiting from advanced agricultural technologies. Trade policies further complicate the landscape, favoring large-scale producers and importers over small-scale black bean growers. Countries like Brazil and Argentina have pivoted towards exporting soy and corn, driven by advantageous trade agreements and soaring global demand, leaving black beans marginalized. These trade dynamics are reinforced by international deals focused on exporting high-yield, easily transportable commodities over nutritionally rich but less commercial options like black beans. Consumer trends also play a part in this saga. The surge in fast food and ready-to-eat meals has diminished the demand for whole, unprocessed staples like black beans. As home cooking declines, traditional dishes featuring black beans fade from the culinary narrative, further reducing demand. Food manufacturers lean towards ingredients that transform effortlessly into shelf-stable products, with lengthy expiration dates, something fresh black beans struggle to deliver. Yet amidst these challenges, black beans remain a vital crop for food security in the regions where they're still cultivated. Without a significant overhaul in agricultural policy and a boost in consumer consciousness, their decline will persist. This backslide threatens dietary diversity and undermines global efforts to advocate for sustainable and nutritious food systems. 9. Nutritional yeast, a powerhouse with a cheesy flavor and an impressive nutrient profile that's been facing surprising hurdles. Why is this superfood, beloved by vegans and health enthusiasts alike, struggling to make it to more kitchens around the world? The answer might surprise you. Nutritional yeast is a unique ingredient. Not only does it offer a complete protein source with all 9 essential amino acids, but it's also packed with B vitamins, including the elusive B12, crucial for those on a vegan diet. Despite these undeniable benefits, nutritional yeast isn't as accessible as it should be. Standing in the way are complex regulations shaped by influential lobbying, particularly from the dairy industry. Why? Because this versatile yeast is seen as more than just a cheese alternative, it's viewed as a threat poised to capture a significant slice of the market from traditional dairy products. Let's unpack the barriers. Beyond the obvious trade tariffs and import restrictions, nutritional yeast producers face a labyrinth of domestic regulations. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has been tightening the screws with rigorous testing requirements, all in the name of microbial safety. While safety is paramount, these stringent standards hit smaller producers hardest, those who can't easily bear the financial burden of expensive tests and certifications. This regulatory landscape seems to conveniently align with the dairy industry's intensified lobbying efforts to stymie plant-based competitors. Moreover, marketing regulations have also clipped the wings of nutritional yeast. Strict guidelines limit the health claims manufacturers can make on their packaging, significantly hampering consumer awareness and adoption. Without the ability to fully tout its benefits, nutritional yeast struggles to gain the spotlight it deserves. Unlike other agricultural products, nutritional yeast production is a highly specialized process involving precise fermentation techniques. This complexity makes it challenging and costly to scale up production, especially when coupled with increasing regulatory demands. Most nutritional yeast is fortified with synthetic vitamins and minerals, adding yet another layer of regulatory scrutiny and cost. These barriers collectively dissuade new players from entering the market, leading to less competition and higher prices. On the international front, trade policies further complicate matters. Countries that produce nutritional yeast are often hit with export tariffs and quotas, limiting its global reach. Take the European Union, for example, which has ramped up import tariffs on nutritional yeast from non-EU countries, ostensibly to protect local dairy industries under the guise of agricultural protectionism. In the United States, high tariffs also restrict its availability and affordability for consumers. All these factors create a perfect storm that limits the presence of nutritional yeast on store shelves and keeps its prices elevated. This superfood, with its potential to revolutionize diets, is being held back by forces that prefer the status quo. As we expose the ninth item on our list, it's clear that the fight for market dominance extends far beyond what meets the eye. The question remains, will we let these invisible hands dictate our food choices, or will we push back to reclaim the power over our nutrition? In our countdown of the groceries you might be discouraged from buying, pasture-raised eggs take the spotlight at number 8. Why are these superior eggs, laid by hens roaming freely and feeding on a natural diet, facing such significant obstacles? Let's crack open the truth. Pasture-raised eggs are nutritional powerhouses. Hens raised in open pastures consume grasses, insects, and seeds, resulting in eggs rich in omega-3 fatty acids and vitamins A, D, and E, plus a higher antioxidant content compared to their conventional counterparts. Despite these benefits, the pasture-raised egg industry is under siege from the lobbying might of large-scale industrial egg producers who dominate the market with factory-farmed eggs. These industrial operations churn out eggs at lower costs, thanks to economies of scale and minimal production expenses. Small-scale pasture-raised producers are caught in a regulatory quagmire. They face rigorous certification processes, extensive paperwork, and constant inspections that demand costly upgrades and equipment. These inspections are not necessarily linked to improving egg quality or safety, but rather reflect standards designed for industrial giants. The financial strain of these requirements can be crippling for small farmers, making it hard for them to compete. On top of the regulatory hurdles, there's a battle for consumer perception. Large egg corporations have mastered the art of misleading marketing, using terms like cage-free or free-range to imply animal welfare standards similar to pasture-raised eggs. However, these terms often fall short in delivering the same nutritional quality or humane treatment. The lack of clear regulatory definitions for pasture-raised further enables industrial producers to exploit these labels, creating confusion and diminishing the distinct value of genuinely pasture-raised eggs. Moreover, industrial egg producers wield massive advertising budgets, overshadowing small farmers in the marketplace. Their ads focus on the lower price and availability of conventional eggs, often omitting the stark differences in how these eggs are produced and their nutritional content. This marketing dominance ensures that factory-farmed eggs continue to be the default choice for many consumers, keeping pasture-raised eggs a premium option, less accessible for the average buyer. There's also an ongoing debate regarding the environmental impact of egg production. Industrial producers claim their methods are more efficient and have a lower carbon footprint per egg. However, this argument dismisses the ecological benefits of pasture-raised systems, which support soil health, reduce chemical use, and boost biodiversity. By focusing solely on efficiency, they ignore the holistic environmental advantages of sustainable pasture-based farming. So, what's the takeaway? When you choose pasture-raised eggs, you're not just opting for superior nutrition. You're supporting farming practices that respect animal welfare and contribute positively to the environment. Yet, these choices are being manipulated by powerful interests who prefer the status quo of industrial production. It's time to scrutinize our egg cartons and make informed decisions that reflect our values and health priorities. At number 7, we delve into the world of raw nuts, a nutritional goldmine that's quietly being overshadowed by processed alternatives. Why are these nutrient-dense powerhouses being sidelined? Let's dig into the facts. Raw nuts, such as almonds, walnuts, and cashews, are bursting with essential nutrients. They are packed with healthy fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals, making them a fantastic choice for anyone looking to boost their diet naturally. But despite their undeniable health benefits, there's been a strategic push to steer consumers away from raw nuts in favor of processed varieties. What's driving this shift? The answer lies in a complex web of profit motives and regulatory influences. Processed nuts, like roasted or salted versions, are more lucrative for food companies. The additional processing steps involved in creating these products add value, allowing manufacturers to justify higher prices at the checkout. Nut butters, too, have become a staple in many pantries, marketed as convenient health foods. However, they often contain added sugars, oils, and preservatives that detract from their nutritional value. Government policies play a significant role in this dynamic. Stringent quality checks and higher tariffs are imposed on imported raw nuts, supposedly to mitigate risks such as contamination or pests. Ironically, these regulations hit raw nuts the hardest while leaving processed products relatively unscathed. This has led to higher prices for raw nuts, making them less accessible to the average consumer. The influence of large food corporations cannot be overlooked. These companies, which dominate the nut processing industry, have lobbied for regulations that disadvantage raw nut imports, thus reducing competition. They advocate for stricter food safety standards targeting raw nuts, citing their potential for pathogen presence. Yet, this overlooks the reality that with proper storage and handling, raw nuts are perfectly safe to consume. Marketing and consumer education strategies further tip the scales. Advertising often highlights the convenience and taste of processed nuts, like roasted varieties or versatile nut butters, downplaying the nutritional superiority of raw options. This plays into the convenience-driven mindset of many consumers, who may not be aware of the additives in processed nuts or the nutritional losses during processing. Retail strategies also contribute to this trend. Processed nuts are often given prime placement in stores, at eye level or near checkouts, encouraging impulse buys. This visibility, coupled with the marketing push, keeps processed nuts in the limelight. Finally, this shift aligns with a broader trend in the food industry, prioritizing products with long shelf lives and higher profit margins. Processed nuts, which don't require refrigeration, are more appealing to retailers and distributors. This logistical convenience ensures that processed options dominate the supply chain, further marginalizing raw nuts in mainstream markets. By choosing raw nuts, you're opting for pure, unadulterated nutrition. Yet the pressures from profit-driven motives and regulatory frameworks mean that these wholesome options are slowly being edged out. It's time to be aware of these influences and make informed choices that prioritize our health over convenience. 6. In our exploration of the government's hidden influences on your grocery choices, buckwheat emerges as the 6th item on our list. This versatile pseudo-cereal, often mistaken for a grain, is packed with impressive nutrients and health benefits. So why is it disappearing from our fields and plates? The answer lies in a complex web of agricultural policies and economic pressures. Buckwheat is a nutritional powerhouse. It boasts a rich profile of protein, fiber, and essential amino acids like lysine and arginine, which are often missing in more common grains like wheat and corn. It's also loaded with minerals such as magnesium, iron, and zinc, and features antioxidants like rutin, known for bolstering cardiovascular health by strengthening blood vessels and reducing inflammation. Despite its benefits and its cherished status in traditional diets worldwide, from Russian kasha to Japanese soba noodles, buckwheat is witnessing a decline in production. The crux of buckwheat's plight lies in shifting agricultural priorities. In the United States and Europe, changes in policy have slashed subsidies for buckwheat farmers, steering them towards more profitable crops like corn and soy. This shift is driven by a global emphasis on monoculture farming and the influence of powerful agricultural corporations lobbying for these high-yield crops. Buckwheat's specific growth requirements, cool climates and well-drained soil, make it less adaptable to the vast intensive farming systems designed for genetically modified crops that thrive under diverse conditions. Moreover, buckwheat's relatively modest yield per acre compared to heavily subsidized crops makes it a less attractive option for farmers under pressure to maximize output. The lack of technological advancements in buckwheat processing compared to dominant grains further exacerbates this issue. While corn and wheat benefit from cutting-edge milling technologies that boost profitability, buckwheat processing remains largely artisanal and labor-intensive, limiting its appeal in a profit-driven agricultural economy. The intricacies of buckwheat cultivation, including its sensitivity to soil pH and the delicate balance of nutrients it requires, further dissuade farmers. Agricultural advisors, often backed by agribusiness giants, promote monoculture crops due to their ease of management and lucrative markets for genetically modified seeds and agrochemicals. This decline is not isolated, but is part of a global trend, affecting regions that historically depended on buckwheat cultivation. The repercussions of buckwheat's decline extend beyond individual farmers. It threatens food security and biodiversity. As fewer farmers plant buckwheat, we lose genetic diversity, increasing vulnerability to pests, diseases, and climate change. The focus on monocultures undermines agricultural resilience, compromising efforts to establish sustainable and diverse food systems. The diminishing presence of buckwheat could have profound consequences, not just for traditional dishes and cultural practices, but also for global nutrition. Buckwheat is a valuable resource in the battle against malnutrition. Its decline limits access to a nutrient-rich food that could play a crucial role in addressing dietary deficiencies worldwide. At number 5, we uncover the hidden challenges facing whole-grain barley, a nutritional gem steadily vanishing from our fields and tables. What's driving this decline, and why should you care? Let's delve into the details. Whole-grain barley is a powerhouse of nutrition. It's rich in beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that plays a crucial role in lowering cholesterol and regulating blood sugar levels. Barley is also packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, making it a superb choice for a balanced diet. Yet despite its health benefits, barley is under threat, sidelined by modern agricultural practices and economic policies favoring more profitable crops like corn and wheat. The root of barley's struggles lies in the lack of investment and attention it receives compared to its commercial counterparts. Unlike corn and wheat, which benefit from significant research and development, barley lacks the versatility for processed food products, making it less appealing for large agribusinesses focused on maximizing yields and profits. Consequently, there's been a marked decrease in barley production, particularly in regions where monoculture farming dominates. The limited demand for barley further exacerbates its decline. Today, most barley is destined for animal feed or brewing, with only a small fraction reaching our plates. This narrow market scope makes it less attractive for farmers, who are often driven by the profitability of crops that align with current market trends. As a result, the nutritional advantages of barley are not enough to secure its place in the competitive agricultural landscape. The challenges facing barley are compounded by the absence of strong advocacy. Unlike corn and wheat, barley lacks powerful lobbying groups to champion its cause. This lack of representation results in minimal government incentives and subsidies, leaving farmers financially disadvantaged when choosing to grow barley. Without the economic support that other crops enjoy, barley struggles to maintain its foothold in farming communities. Moreover, barley breeding programs lag behind those for other major crops. While corn and wheat have seen advances in developing high-yield, disease-resistant varieties, barley remains vulnerable to pests, diseases, and climate change. This vulnerability discourages farmers from investing in barley cultivation as it presents higher risks with fewer rewards. International trade dynamics also undermine barley's prominence. Trade agreements often prioritize more valuable crops, leaving barley with limited export opportunities and reduced global competitiveness. This lack of focus in international trade reduces its economic viability for farmers seeking to export their harvests. Finally, Shifting consumer preferences towards processed convenience foods have led to a decline in whole grain consumption, including barley. This trend diminishes consumer demand and reduces the incentive for retailers to stock whole grain barley, further marginalizing its presence in the marketplace. At number 4, we unravel the hidden forces working against fresh herbs, like basil, parsley, and cilantro. These vibrant, flavorful plants aren't just culinary staples. They're caught in a web of corporate maneuvers and regulatory hurdles that threaten your ability to enjoy them fresh and affordably. Fresh herbs are beloved for their ability to elevate dishes with their aromatic flavors and health benefits. Rich in essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, they are more than just garnishes. They're key ingredients in maintaining a healthy diet. Despite their popularity, fresh herbs have become less accessible and more expensive, thanks to covert efforts by large agricultural corporations eager to protect their profit margins. These corporations view the burgeoning trend of home herb cultivation as a direct threat. To counter this, they've championed legislation that imposes strict regulations on the sale and distribution of herb seeds and plants. These laws include mandatory certifications for seed quality, disproportionately impacting smaller seed companies and local farmers markets. The result? Consumers find it harder to access a diverse array of herb seeds at reasonable prices. But the reach of these regulations extends beyond seeds. There's been a noticeable clampdown on imported fresh herbs under the guise of stringent pest control measures. Often, these measures aren't about genuine pest threats, but are strategic moves to curb the import of competitively priced herbs from countries where they grow naturally and abundantly. This ensures domestic growers, often tied to large agribusinesses, maintain their market share without facing the threat of cheaper imports. Furthermore, there's been a calculated shift in marketing strategies to discourage consumers from growing their own herbs. Influential food corporations have lobbied for changes in agricultural extension services, a traditional source of home gardening advice and resources. These changes have curtailed public access to free or low-cost educational materials that promote the joys and benefits of growing herbs at home. Simultaneously, marketing campaigns have ramped up, touting the convenience and alleged superior quality of pre-packaged herbs. This narrative promotes dependency on store-bought options, often less fresh and more expensive, while downplaying the cost-effectiveness and health benefits of homegrown herbs. Adding to these challenges is the rise of patented herb varieties. Major agricultural companies have engineered specific herb strains to resist common pests and diseases. Yet these varieties often don't reproduce seeds effectively. This forces gardeners to purchase new seeds each season, driving up costs and discouraging sustainable herb gardening. This practice not only increases costs, but also limits biodiversity by reducing market availability for traditional or heirloom varieties, which might offer unique flavors or higher nutritional values. In essence, fresh herbs are caught in a battle between consumer choice and corporate control. As these hidden influences shape your grocery options, it's critical to become aware and take action. Choose to support local farmers and seed companies. Embrace growing your own herbs and savor the unparalleled freshness and flavor they bring to your table. At number 3, we delve into the fascinating world of heirloom vegetables. These traditional crops, grown from seeds handed down through generations, are renowned for their diverse flavors and genetic richness. Yet despite their unique qualities, heirloom vegetables are under threat from modern agricultural practices and corporate dominance. Heirloom vegetables are a treasure trove of flavor and resilience. Unlike uniform, mass-produced crops, heirloom varieties boast a genetic diversity that makes them naturally more resistant to pests and diseases. They offer a kaleidoscope of colors, shapes, and flavors lost in the world of commercial agriculture. However, the rise of monoculture farming, a practice where a single crop type is grown on a large scale, poses a significant threat to these precious plants. Monoculture farming is favored by large corporations because it simplifies management and increases efficiency. However, this approach severely reduces biodiversity, leaving crops vulnerable to diseases and pests that could wipe out entire harvests. Government policies and subsidies heavily favor genetically modified, GM, and hybrid crops, sidelining heirloom varieties. These engineered crops promise uniformity and high yields, aligning perfectly with the industrial food model that prioritizes profit over diversity. As a result, farmers devoted to heirloom cultivation often find themselves without the financial support or resources available to those growing GM crops. The lack of investment in research to optimize heirloom varieties for modern agriculture further discourages their cultivation. The seed industry also plays a crucial role in the marginalization of heirloom vegetables. Dominated by a handful of large corporations, the industry aggressively promotes GM seeds, often employing legal and marketing tactics that pressure farmers into using patented seeds. These seeds can only be replanted with the corporation's approval, sidelining the open-pollinated seeds essential for heirloom farming. This legal and financial pressure makes it risky for farmers to continue growing heirloom vegetables, as they lack the protections and market support enjoyed by larger industrial farms. In the marketplace, heirloom vegetables face an uphill battle. Supermarkets and distributors often prefer GM or hybrid vegetables because they are bred for uniformity in appearance and longer shelf life, making them more appealing to consumers and reducing waste. Heirloom vegetables, with their natural variety and sometimes shorter shelf life, don't fit the mold. This preference for standardized produce limits the market for heirloom vegetables, making it challenging for farmers to justify their cultivation. Consumer awareness also plays a critical role in the decline of heirloom vegetables. Many people are unaware of the benefits these crops offer, not only in terms of flavor and nutrition, but also in supporting biodiversity and agricultural resilience. Without clear labeling or marketing that highlights their advantages, consumers are less likely to choose heirloom vegetables over more familiar options. This lack of demand perpetuates the cycle of reduced supply and support, pushing heirloom vegetables further to the agricultural fringe. Kicking off at number 1, we dive deep into the world of grass-fed beef, a product that promises health and sustainability, but is caught in the crossfires of powerful industry forces. Let's explore why this nutrient-rich choice is being kept at bay and how it affects you. Grass-fed beef stands out for its impressive nutritional profile. It's richer in omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins A and E, and antioxidants, all while offering less fat and fewer calories compared to its grain-fed counterpart. These benefits make it a compelling choice for health-conscious consumers. Additionally, grass-fed beef is renowned for its sustainable farming practices, as cattle graze on pasture rather than being raised in confined feedlots. This method not only supports animal welfare, but also contributes to soil health and biodiversity. Despite its advantages, grass-fed beef faces formidable obstacles. The factory farming sector, with its vested interest in grain-fed beef, employs powerful lobbying techniques to maintain its dominance. These efforts are bolstered by extensive government subsidies for corn and soy production, which lower feed costs and make factory farming more economically viable. As a result, grain-fed beef can be sold at lower prices, creating a hefty barrier for grass-fed producers who cannot compete on cost alone. Producing grass-fed beef is inherently more expensive. It demands more land and time to raise cattle on pasture, resulting in higher production costs that are inevitably transferred to consumers. Large meatpacking corporations exploit this cost disparity by advocating for ongoing grain subsidies, thus ensuring grain remains an inexpensive and plentiful feed source. This practice undercuts the competitiveness of grass-fed beef, squeezing out smaller operations that strive to maintain ethical and sustainable practices. Beyond subsidies, industry giants influence regulatory frameworks to hinder grass-fed beef marketing. Ambiguous labeling laws, shaped by aggressive lobbying, blur the distinctions between beef types. Labels like natural or free-range can mislead consumers into believing they're purchasing grass-fed beef, although these terms may barely differ from conventional beef. This confusion allows grain-fed beef to capture more market share by masquerading as a grass-fed equivalent, despite failing to meet the same rigorous standards. Moreover, marketing campaigns funded by major meatpackers amplify the appeal of grain-fed beef. These campaigns tout its affordability and consistency in taste and texture, while conveniently omitting the environmental and health benefits of grass-fed options. By focusing on cost and convenience, these narratives divert attention from the ethical and nutritional advantages of grass-fed beef, swaying consumer preferences towards grain-fed alternatives.